Tesla's stock price dropped below $600 again. Now, it's crazy that that's even newsworthy, but this is a circus in which we're involved when we're dealing with the world's most valuable auto manufacturer, led by a polarizing head of state. Welcome back to The Traveling Trader. My name is Z. In today's video, we'll be discussing some bombshell news that might be affecting Tesla's stock price in the near future. At the end of the video, I'll give you my price target, why I believe you should be buying any weakness on Tesla, and tell you how I'm getting paid to buy Tesla stock for much cheaper than it is right now. So you'll definitely want to stick around to the end of the video for that trade update. Now, let's face it, guys, ever since Tesla's price breakout last year, there's been no shortage of naysayers, short sellers, and frankly, haters.
Trust me, I'm an expert hater.
However, Tesla's price action has largely ignored this wave of negativity, but it is recently experiencing a surge in negative news coverage, due in part to Elon's meddling in the crypto world, as well as some crashes that may be attributable to autopilot, but we'll get into the most recent crash specifically, as well as the Chinese government criticizing Tesla for what they call arrogant behavior following customer complaints. This is not a good look, pissing the CCP off. Trolling the SEC is one thing, pissing off the CCP is another. Not all three-letter organizations are created equal. Okay, so let's start with the most recent crash, and then we'll get into the China news, as well as some of the updates on the cryptocurrency front. I'll give you my honest analysis, tell you how these things might affect Tesla's price, and then I'll be giving you my trades, and most importantly, how I'm going to be getting paid to buy Tesla cheaper. So on May 5th, a California driver driving a Tesla unfortunately lost his life. He was killed in the crash. Now, just like some of the previous crashes that the mainstream media were quick to report on and jump to conclusions, they said that this was related to autopilot. Now, just like in the previous few crashes, it's clear that the people reporting this aren't really objective reporters, right? There is no shortage of people that hate on Elon because, as I said, he is a polarizing figure. Now, I'm not saying that Teslas are perfect. Obviously, they come with their share of quality issues. But if you do a quick Google search, you could see a list of recalls here on other auto manufacturers. Here we see a steering issue on 1.1 million Honda Accords for the model years 2013 to 2015. 620,000 Ford Explorers were recalled for roof rail covers. Hyundai, Dodge Durango, you get the picture. But there's sort of this dystopian mystique when it comes to autopilot because it reminds us of things that we've seen in futuristic movies and TV shows like Westworld. It just seems like the next frontier. So you couple that with the mainstream media's general disdain for Elon, and you get news reports like this. So was this driver really killed by autopilot? Now, obviously, autopilot could have been engaged. However, now digging deeper into this driver's background, and obviously, rest in peace, I don't want to denigrate a dead soul. However, we're reporting on the news story objectively. But digging deeper, he posted a ton of videos of himself driving without his hands on the wheel. Now, Tesla's autopilot is only level 2 autonomy, which means that yes, it could mimic some of the motions of autopilot, but it is definitely not level 5. And you are required to engage with the steering wheel every few seconds. Moreover, the California Highway Patrol initially said that the autopilot was engaged, but later walked that statement back to say that there hasn't been a final determination made. So we still don't know the details of what led to the crash, but like I said, the mainstream media is jumping on every opportunity to shit on Tesla and Elon. Now, it could be justified that this was actually due to autopilot, but as Tesla says in its owner manual and on its website, that both autopilot and full self-driving are not fully autonomous and that drivers must pay attention and be ready to intervene at any time. So there's kind of like this burden of responsibility that Tesla is expecting to pass on to the drivers, just like using any function in the car. And Tesla drivers are equally as optimistic to try these new features out. So where does the burden of responsibility lie? It is a gray area. Now, everything aside, I'm going to leave this guy's GoFundMe campaign because he does have a wife and 2 kids that he left behind. Rest in peace. I'm going to leave the GoFundMe campaign in the link below, and I'm going to personally donate to it as well. Regardless of whose fault it is, this is a life lost, and he left a family behind. So if you guys want, that link will be in the description. Now, as I said, safety issues are unfortunately a byproduct of the auto industry. Anytime you get products that are produced at a large scale, like vehicles, you expect to see these quality quality issues. Unfortunately, these are vehicles that most of us spent most days in, so we don't want to think about something dangerous happening to us, but it is a very high likelihood. And these vehicles have many moving parts and they get more complex by the year. Tesla is no different than any other car company, but like I said, that autopilot feature, because of its futuristic allure, is going to be highlighted by the mainstream media as opposed to some of these other companies that might have a problem with the brakes or the steering, etc. Now, in terms of how this specifically will affect Tesla's stock price, with every one of these major stories regarding autopilot, we've seen incremental drops in Tesla's stock price that are temporary. But I think that as these stories mount, if Tesla does not release significant updates on its autopilot feature, I think that will create a 1-2 punch that could potentially keep Tesla stock price trading within a lower range than it has been the last few months. Because part of the reason that Tesla stock price did see that increase and the reason that it trades at the multiples that it does is because the market is expectant of some of these revolutionary features, such as autopilot, and autopilot is well behind schedule. So whether unfair or not, these news stories can't continue to mount while Tesla stalls on releasing updates to autopilot. Now, it is releasing an update soon, I heard. There is a report here from TipRank saying that Tesla autopilot software update is coming soon, but I do wish that Tesla would come out and give a major update on level 5 autonomy. Like I said, we're still on level 2. All right, so what's the update in China? Well, there was a report earlier this month that said Tesla's China sales tumbled 27% in April from March. However, this headline, we have to dig a little bit deeper to contextualize this a bit, right? So Tesla's decline was 27% between April and March. However, the decline in overall EV sales in China was 12% in April from March. And Tesla actually had to halt production of Model S and Model X due to the chip shortage, as well as some of the other supply chain issues it experienced in China. Now, this, I believe, is a temporary blip, and the chip shortage is affecting all car manufacturers, not just Tesla. You could see the shortages in production across the board, and the demand in Europe more than made up for the decline in China. So Tesla is ramping up their exports to Europe. Now, among mainstream EVs, Tesla is still the highest selling EV in China, but it was recently beat out by this tiny EV called, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing it, Wuling. Now, this tiny Lego-looking car did beat Tesla's Model 3 sales, but it also comes at a fraction of the price. And obviously, it is a lot easier to park in densely populated areas. But among the mainstream EVs, Tesla still leads in sales, even beating out BYD, which Warren Buffett is heavily invested in. So I'm not too worried about the month-to-month sales drop narrative. Now, here's what I am worried about, because you don't just fuck with the CCP, right? So China government officials are now criticizing Tesla publicly on Chinese media for what they call arrogant behavior following customer complaints. Now, if you've been following my EV updates over the years, I'm on record as saying that I don't think it will end well between China and Tesla. Not specifically because of news stories similar to this, but because I don't see the Chinese government allowing an American company to beat out its local competitors. So as these Chinese EV companies like NIO, XPeng, BYD, as they continue to scale and meet demand, I do think there will come a time when Tesla will eventually get pushed out by hook or by crook. I could be entirely wrong on this, but that is just my projection. Now, apparently the CCP, or the Communist Party, uses China's WeChat platform. Of course they do. And on WeChat, they said that Tesla has to face up to the torment of its Chinese customers. That is a direct quote. Now, obviously, none of us can tell the future, and I have no idea the scale at which the CCP is willing to take Tesla to task for some of these customer complaints. I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll force Tesla to ship a Chinese specific version that doesn't have autopilot, doesn't have all these crazy cameras that the Chinese government is also worried about. I really don't know how this ends. There really isn't a precedence for this. So we'll have you. I would love to sweep it under the rug and say, hey, this is also part of the overreaction in terms of the news cycle, some of the news stories that we've discussed previously, but I really don't know what the long-term effects of messing with the CCP are. All right, and lastly, I'll briefly get into the cryptocurrency update regarding Tesla, and then we'll get into the price analysis, and I'll give you my trades and tell you how I'm planning on getting paid to buy Tesla for a lot cheaper than it is currently. So In terms of the cryptocurrency bet, we knew that Tesla bought a shit ton of Bitcoin earlier this year. In fact, they made over $400 million in profits. And also, simultaneously, they announced in March that they were accepting payment in Bitcoin for Teslas. However, as we highlighted in an earlier video, Tesla has suspended vehicle purchases using Bitcoin. Now, they didn't completely abandon the idea of accepting cryptocurrency, but the initial concerns were with the fuel emissions required in order to generate Bitcoin or to mine Bitcoin. And in the last statement here, Elon said, we are also looking at other cryptocurrencies that use less than 1% of Bitcoin's energy transaction. Now, we all know Elon's relationship to Doge. He's seen as the unofficial Doge Lord. Also last week, a news story came out that Dogecoin will migrate from proof of work to proof of stake. Now, I'm not going to get into the intricate details regarding proof of stake versus proof of work, but all you need to know for this video is that Bitcoin, as well as Dogecoin and other mineable cryptocurrencies, usually work in proof of work format, which means that it requires a lot of electricity to mine these coins. And Dogecoin, as ridiculous as it is an offshoot or a fork off of Bitcoin's code. Now, going back to Elon's tweets from last week, after that, he said, working with Doge devs to improve system transaction efficiency, potentially promising. So this is not a coincidence that they stopped taking Bitcoin. This new story comes out that Dogecoin will potentially migrate from proof of work, which is electricity mining. That's all you need to know for the purposes of this video. Moving from that to proof of stake, and then Elon later confirming that he's working with the Doge devs to improve system transaction efficiency. Side note, there's definitely a trade available for Dogecoin. I will send that out in the trade alerts, but that's not for this video. So one of two things is going to happen here. Either Elon will, as a matter of fact, work with Doge. They will announce that they are shifting from proof of work to proof of stake, and Elon will start accepting Doge as payment, and it will shift from being a meme coin to a real coin, I guess. Or two, Tesla will find a way to efficiently or more efficiently mine Bitcoin using some sort of green energy mechanism, and they will then resume taking payments in Bitcoin. All right, so let's look at the chart, do a little bit of chart analysis on Tesla, then I'll give you my trade. So looking at Tesla, we see that it is almost 35% down from highs. So Tesla is currently in a bear market of its own, finding support here interimly at the 560 level. However, I could easily see Tesla drop to 500, maybe a little bit below. Now, trying to guess these things is oftentimes an exercise in futility, especially if we're trying to guess to the exact dollar amount, which we're not. But we do have tools that allow us to make educated guesses. Tesla did spend a lot of time in the 450 to 470 range last year, and the 0.5 Fibonacci level is currently around 470. So because we see this period of consolidation here, I would be comfortable buying a lot of Tesla at this level as a dollar cost average. So how do you get paid handsomely for a chance to buy Tesla at the range that you want? Let's just say that I'm targeting the 450 price level. Well, I could sell what is called a cash secured put. So if we go out to an arbitrary date in the future, let's just pick 60 days out in the future, July 16th, let's just go out to that options expiration. You go out to the 450 range. You could see here that you could sell the 450 put on Tesla for $1,350. Remember, you are selling a put, not buying it. A lot of people were confused in the Palantir video. This is not a bearish position. You are selling the put. What does that entitle you to? Well, if Tesla never hits 450 by July 16th, you get to keep $1,350, no questions asked. If Tesla hits 450 by July 16th, you are obligated to buy Tesla at $450. You're obligated to buy 100 shares at $450 because you sold the put. That is your obligation. However, you also collected $13.50 per share, which means your cost basis is $436.50, if I'm not mistaken. That's $450 minus $13.50. Now, I happen to do this every month on Tesla. This is one of the ways that I generate income. I've been selling puts on Tesla forever, and I've never been assigned within the last year. This is called a cash secured put. Obviously, you can Google it, you can YouTube it. I also did a full options course from A to Z. You could check it out. Link is in the description below. We start with what is an option and end with some of these complex strategies like cash secured puts. But if Tesla experiences more of a price drop due to this negative news, then I'm happy to buy Tesla cheaper. If it never drops to that level, because remember, we are not fortune tellers, then I will still keep the money that I sold that put for, and I can keep doing that over and over again. Obviously, you can also dollar cost average. You could do it in conjunction with selling a cash secured put. And for those that don't want to sell a cash secured put, then I would consider dollar cost averaging. If you're happy buying Tesla at 800, you should be more than happy buying it at a 35% discount, especially since we have fractional shares now on Robinhood as well as some other brokers. You don't have to buy a whole share of Tesla. You could devote a bi-weekly or bi-monthly payment to buy Tesla on a scheduled basis. Obviously, if you still have high conviction on it, in my view, I think that this is a buy the weakness situation. I mean, down 35% from highs. Obviously, the market is cooling off on Tesla. Like I said, it has to show that it is ready to meet some of these futuristic obligations that it's been touting this whole time. These are just the ebbs and flows that we experience in the market, and I'm happy to buy the weakness here on Tesla. Nothing has fundamentally changed. The only thing that I'm unsure about in the long-term future of Tesla is the China predicament. So we'll have to keep an eye out and see how that plays out. Anyway, traders, that is it for this video. If you got anything out of this video, leave it a big fat thumbs up just like this. Leave it in the comment section below. Let me know what you think of some of these news stories regarding Tesla and how you think it will affect Tesla's price. Do you think anything has fundamentally changed? I love hearing from you guys, so leave that in the comment section below. Check out our private trading group where I go live with the group multiple times a week. We go over trades, option strategies, crypto, etc. So it's a great value. Check that out in the description below. Subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Stay safe out there, traders. Peace.